So on the 12th of August, I said it may be a good time to take some profits. On the screen, you can see a little line that indicates when I did said video. That's not to brag, that's just an obvious point in terms of weakness, and also it may be a time for you to take some money off the table, right? Which is what I always talk about. Take money off the table. Certainly if you've been riding from the lows to the highs. We've got to look, see what's happening now. Is it the bear market rally over? Is it a trap? Is it all kinds of other stuff in terms of what I've talked about over the last few videos, in terms of the weekly time frame pullback and where we can go? So we're going to look at some biases because I think it's important to look at the market sentiment. I think a lot of people are a little bit concerned about what's going to happen next. I think this week could be pretty not great for longs particularly, but we'll see. Anyways, let's talk about the simple stuff, right? This is Bitcoin. I'll zoom in so you can see certain things. The question is, how do we react from here, right? Now, I mentioned before in previous videos, weekly time frame, the impulse, the pullback, look for potential entries. I'm not denying here that there is some potential entry points, obviously. You know, you got Chainlink, for example, back into the $6 range. You got Matic down quite significantly as well, Solana back at 34. There is going to be opportunities, but the question is, and the unknown that I've always got is, where do we go from here into Q4, right? So don't blow all your powder at once, basically. That's what I'm saying. Now, looking at the scenario here with Bitcoin, we've went up. It was relatively weak, which is why I was talking about that potential profit level. But now we're broken structure. Now we're below a level of significance again. I think people will try and short this. I think this could be a rejection and we could go lower and retest these lows, which would be better for the narrative is the bottom in. If we retest that and bounce off it solidly, you've got a better argument than what people have already had. A lot of people were saying to us as in everyone, bullish accounts. I'm not going to go too deep on those, but when we look at the overall bias and look and zoom out, people were screaming bull market has started again, right? When reality is we didn't have that higher low, which is what we're craving. We may be getting that now. We may be getting that, which is where the bullish scenario does come into this. If we don't get that and we carry on going lower, well, we know what's going to happen. The bottom isn't in, boys and girls. Yeah, that's kind of the bad reality of it. So, as much as TA is subjective, what have we got overall? Now, let's talk about it. If we're going to go long, overall structure, we are already at levels of interest where we could be looking at potential longs. 618 levels, 20,000 and 400, give or take, where we kind of already roughly bounce in and around. People could be going long from here as buy the dip, right? That is a big possibility. But as I said in previous videos, we need to wait for demand to actually show that there is demand. I do not think we've had enough conviction from that bounce just yet to state, let's go long. I don't think that yet. It's too early. Yes, we've gone up, we've hit this level on the nose, and if we do reject off this level and carry on going lower, it's going to be pretty bad, right? Because we're going to create new lows. Simple as that. We're going to continue the downtrend. We're going to continue going down, and this is a bear market rally. As I said though, it's all subjective. It depends on what the reaction is. Bitcoin hasn't been the most convincing asset over the last, let's be honest, 6 months. Let's be fair here. It's not been great. Ethereum has been. Now, Ethereum looks a little bit better in some ways, but it also hasn't dropped as much as Bitcoin, which is also the problem because it hasn't risen. So I did a video about this recently saying, right, Ethereum looks okay. I think this could be the level, right, where we could be either A, go into, or it would bounce off potentially the previous all-time high from the previous cycle, and also a very significant level right now where we bounced off just recently and we went for a massive gigabump, right? Now, that being said, we may be looking at potential shorts down to this region, in and around where this horrible area is, right? So what could we be waiting for now? Personally, I think we are going to see a reaction from the bears. And again, we went right up to this fib level. Could we be going back down? Potentially. Now look at where these two levels are now. That could be the level of interest for a lot of bulls. Now this is a problem. We've got people trying to make money very, very quickly in this market, and we've got people getting very, very burnt very, very quickly by basically aping in on these tops because everyone's getting very, very bullish. The time to take profit, as I mentioned, the 12th of April was a video that I put out, which was on this candle. Not a bad shout, let's be fair, because people were getting vocal. People were talking about it. Oh, Mr. FUD, Mr. whatever. But the reality is, right, if people have gotten staring at 70, 80, 90% gains on a lot of altcoins, they're going to go, you know what, I'm going to take some profit. And that's what happened, right? And we've got to look at that. Now, there is a bullish scenario to this, as I've just mentioned. You know, there could be a massive sea of demand at this level. A massive sea of demand at this level. A lot of information coming out about the merge hasn't been great. It hasn't been great. The reason being, the withdrawals are down. There's no element that we are going to see an improvement in the speed and all kinds of transactional cost. But the reality is, going from proof of work to proof of stake for the merge is actually pretty good versus what it has been in the past, right? We've got to look at that. Now, other things to talk about. I am talking a little bit more about the traditional markets. Currently, mentioned it before in previous videos, this is a Nasdaq. The Nasdaq has done a perfect retest of this level. If I zoom out, you'll see it from this swing high to this swing low, right the way up. Yes, it has broken structure, but that's where we could be going. This is still going down at quite a decent rate. If this carries on going down and retests back into these regions, it's not going to be great for crypto. Again, similar sort of situation with the S&P 500. Went right the way up and turned around. This is typically a better market rally for the traditional markets. Now, other things to talk about as well, the strength of the dollar. Mentioned it before in the previous videos. This is looking strong. You know, if you are looking at this, you'd be like, that looks pretty strong. You know, we're going back up. If this breaks up and carries on going, not good for crypto. So you've got to look at that, right? Buying a dip could be a good opportunity here for a lot of assets, for a lot of altcoins, if you've not bought, right? Certainly when you're thinking, right, where we have been over the last few weeks, you've got to think Ethereum was $2,000 a couple of days ago, right? Now look at it, great opportunity. But the opportunities could be coming better in the future. That's the point. The point is, and a lot of people say this, oh, you're scaring people out of position. I'm not. If you buy the dip now, go for it. But leave something just in case, because I know people do this, just in case it goes lower. Then you're covered, right? But remember to take profit at those resistance levels, okay? So the final bit I want to talk about is obviously what I mentioned a few weeks ago as well in terms of dominance. I did a video about this. People moaned about it, going, oh, dominance, boring. But this is the one to look out for. The dominance of the stable currencies, as I've mentioned in previous videos, keep an eye on this one. If this carries on going up, there's a problem, money flow. People are going from crypto into stable coins, and that's where the dominance will come from. Now, when we start looking at the correlation between the dollar index going up, all the traditional markets going down, even the yields and the bond yields and stuff like that are going up, that's interesting. But if this is carrying on going up, you don't want to be net long in a leverage position. You do not want to be net long in a lot of underwater positions because it could get bad. If you bought these little tops and these little areas where it got very, very interesting and potentially it could have been, that is where the problems could lie for a lot of your investments. If we are looking at those situations, but these are certain key levels on a lot of things. We've got to look at these, and they do look pretty nice to buy, as you can see here. But the reality is, this could get a lot worse without you even thinking about it, without you even discovering that the whole of a market could cripple us very, very quickly. Anyways, if you enjoy this video, leave a like. It's a bit brutal, but these bullish and these bearish scenarios, if we are bouncing, if we're going to continue the trend. However, wait for demand. If not, just wait, chill out, relax.